Welcome to the Celebration of You. I'm your host, Holly Dowling. I'm thrilled to share with you incredible people from all over the world who are living and leading extraordinary lives. From overcoming immense adversity to discovering the secret sauce to leading with courage and grace. Their stories are going to bring you hope and inspiration. Now, let the stories begin. Oh God, am I excited today because I get the honor and privilege of sharing with the world somebody that I have actually gotten to know in the last couple years, and yet it feels like we've been soul sisters for a life. And I'm really excited to celebrate and showcase to a lot of my listeners an amazing and brilliant woman who has become, actually, we have to laugh, we become dear friends. And her name is Ali Brown. And for many of you that know her, you know her as a guru in the entrepreneurial world. She is somebody that has truly created and kind of led kind of this cool cutting edge phenomenon that started about a decade ago. And she really was the leader and still continues to lead in extraordinary ways. So Ali, are you with me, my love?
Hi, Holly.
Hi, darling. I'm so excited to have you.
I know I should have just come to your house, but I actually thought about that maybe we could do it live, but then we would get nothing done.
No, you know we would get nothing done because we'd end up laughing this whole time.
You'd open a bottle of wine, it would be all over. We'd be in the pool.
Exactly.
Done.
So for the sake of the listeners, we decided to do this as a favor for all of you. We're not doing this in the pool. As much as we'd love to be right now. I am so excited. So just to give everybody a little background, we met when we were asked to be, it's still like hilarious. You mentioned wine. We were asked to be the keynote speakers for an event, year and a half, 2 years ago, for women in the winemaking industry from around the world. The funny thing about Ali and I is we were the only two non-wine industry speakers asked to come. Well, that just was the beginning of fireworks that have continued to elevate both of us into a friendship, but also a business partnership. And so Ali, you shared some stories on stage, and I've had the privilege of getting to meet and see a lot of your clients that follow you for years. I just love your story of take me back before you were the guru entrepreneur. Tell us a little bit about where this all started, living in an apartment in New York all by yourself.
The wonder years kind of thing.
Yeah.
Going back.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. It's funny. It seems so long ago because it is, but I always want people to know that I grew up thinking that, life was going to be going to college, getting a good job. I remember in high school seeing that movie with Harrison Ford and Melanie Griffith. It was, help me out. Working Girl. That's what it was.
I love that movie.
And I still have these mom brain moments, by the way, everybody. I have twins. And I just will still have these blips, like something disappears in my head. If you've had kids, you know
Don't
what I'm talking
blame
about.
it on the kids, Ali.
It's a kid thing. And I remember seeing that movie and I was like, oh, I want the corner office and someone bringing me coffee. I mean, these are the things that we kind of grow up seeing that's what success is. And I did pretty well in school. Honestly, I knew I was pretty smart. I had to work, but not that hard. I made honor roll and, I enjoyed school a lot. And then I got out into the working world and I was just grossly disappointed. I mean, grossly disappointed in how little people cared about their jobs, just about the opportunities at some of the companies I was in, how people didn't give a crap. And I was only 21 when I got out there, but it blew my mind. And I was thinking, this can't be it. I was mortified. I immediately started trying to take side jobs. I would go to seminars. I was anything that came by my way, I would do it. I got certified to teach STEP. Do you remember STEP?
Did you girlfriend, I taught step 2, that high impact. Of course we did with our ponytails. Oh God.
Of course you did.
Yes,
over the top, grapevine.
Oh yes. Here we go.
Maybe we'll do that your next retreat. I mean, at one point I was so lost that I was, working in a publishing company. I was teaching, 10 fitness classes a week. I was selling vitamins off the back of my bicycle. I joined a network marketing company. You know what though? I was having fun because I was trying new things. I always gave myself permission to try new things on. And I'd always envied those kids who were like, I'm going to law school and I'm going to become this kind of lawyer. And I was like, wow, I really envied that because I felt like I had no distinct mission or goals, but I let myself explore creatively. to my parents' dismay, they're probably like, they were like, don't you, that job had good health insurance. I'm
Of
like,
course
whatever.
it did. Yeah.
And then my last job was at a little ad agency in New York. I found my way to this little ad agency run by these two bumbly Orthodox Jewish guys with big beards. And they didn't know what to make of me because I show up, I got like the short blonde pixie cut and I dressed really sassy, but they hired me because I had experience working for a healthcare publishing company and they had just gotten a hospital client. And it was a big opportunity for me because I got to run that little department of that agency like it was my own. And I loved that. I loved being in charge of the process. I loved overseeing the design of the publications we were doing for the hospital. I loved deciding on the articles. I got to go take the train and dress up and meet the client. And I realized I'm kind of running my own business. And I met someone who explained to me, they said, you can do this freelance. I'm like, well, what is freelance? So like, basically you do what you're doing now, but you work for yourself. You probably make more money and on your own schedule. And so I quit. And I'm not kidding when I say this.
I love this
story.
story.
It was probably like 4 to 6 weeks later. And I don't know what gave me the courage to do this, except I've always known, this makes me emotional.
This is a beautiful story. This is what makes you you. It's you. Keep going. Work it through the tears. Let's go.
I hate it when you do that. This is so beautiful. This is what Holly does. This is so beautiful. Allie this is just lovely.
Just keep going.
I knew that, I just knew I had to do it. It was more painful to stay where I was than to take that leap. And I knew I had a shot. And I'm like, I'm only 26 at the time. And I'm like, what is there to lose really? Right. I mean, come on, when you're that young, especially. And, I left and I did some research. I joined some breakfast groups and I joined some networking groups and then got leads and I picked up a few little projects. Like I wrote a little brochure for a funeral home. I mean, really, I took
wow. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, whatever it would take, I would just get out there. And then the defining moment, which I share this sometimes I don't have time to share this part of the story, but it was the magical thing that happened. That agency's client who had been working with me prior called information and found my number. And they said, we have no reason to stay with them if you're gone. Wow. That is the moment I knew I had something, that I cared because I cared and I did good work. And, I really wanted to help my clients and work with them really well, that I had something there. And I started to build that business. The big turning point for me though was the internet and getting online and having that power to then market to many people instead of just a few. So I started a little email newsletter with like 10 people, which included my parents and my cat, and really started from there. I would just ask people when I met them, like if I met you, Holly, I would just say, hey, nice to meet you. I have this little newsletter with some marketing tips from what I've learned and works for my clients. Can I put you on the list? And most often they'd say yes. And that's really how I grew this thing. Women started then asking me, what are you doing to build your business?
Literally. Yeah.
Because they realized, I hit 6 figures on my own within my first 2 to 3 years of business. And that seemed like a pipe dream years ago. But then suddenly I had this leverage, I had this power, and I just kept just chugging away at it. And I just kept doing what I love doing and being smart about it, raising my rates little by little, seeing new opportunities and marketing online. And I said, you know what? I'm not quite sure I know everything about what I'm doing, but let me teach you what I do know. You all know something. Everyone listening right now knows something that's going to be of value to someone else. And sometimes you don't know what that is until you see what other people don't know. We don't see our own gifts. We don't see what we have to offer until listen for clues. Listen for people asking you questions. Listen for people saying, I don't understand how you even do this. Be like, well, let me try to show you. And so I started writing articles and then I wrote ebooks, courses that turned into my first workshop I did in 2005 when I had 28 people and I was praying that no one would stand up and go, this is bullshit.
I'm out of here.
Don't you have that fear? The first time
Yes.
you run a little workshop or even in your corporate job, you're in the front of the room, you're waiting for someone to go, this is total crap and you're crap and you don't know what you're doing. And I remember getting through that going, okay, they like me. This makes sense. I'm teaching. I was only teaching what I'd done. I think that's the secret to what I did too. I never ventured out and tried to do stuff I didn't know how to do. I would try new things, but I would always teach stuff that I had proven and worked with clients. And And that led to coaching, which then led to just so many other opportunities over the years. And I know right now there's a lot of funny stuff going around online, but the coaching industry has changed a lot. And unfortunately, what's happened is, I got started in kind of both the coaching industry and internet marketing, and being in both of those worlds. And now you see a lot of junk online. There's a lot of noise, but there's also still some fantastic coaches and amazing consultants and people who really care about their clients and do great work. And that's why I resonated with Holly, which, by the way, you forgot to mention that we both live in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Well, yeah, that explains why we could jump in the pool and do this.
That blew
right?
our minds, though, when we were matched up at that event, and we both realized before we even met, we lived in the same town. I said, I'm supposed to know this woman. And here we are. And we brainstorm a lot together. Holly's the one I call when I'm having a breakdown. Something's going wrong. It just happened yesterday. I'm like, I want to talk to Holly.
But you know what? But Ali, you just said something that I want everybody to hear, because you did this for me, unbeknownst to you. You may not even realize it, but you just said something that's so profound, my friend. And that is, we don't know sometimes how much we know. So start paying attention, right? We can be so close to what we know and what our gifts are. We don't even think that it's something unusual or something that other people would pay for God's sakes, right? It just comes so natural. Why would somebody pay for this? This is what I just do. But you just nailed that, because you help people. This is what you've become. I think your gift to this world is, and I've seen you, I watch you, but you did it for me. And that was one day sitting in your office and you said, can you just help me think through doing a workshop? It was a whole new phase that you were getting into and wanting to, and I just started throwing stuff up on the flip chart and doing this and like, do this. And you were like, holy crap. Like you guys
know this stuff. Like it just came so naturally to you. Right. And that's when that's your thing. That is your thing.
It is. But I didn't realize, I'm like, what do you mean? Why is this so special? I didn't even realize how special that was. And to your point is, everybody has this. It doesn't matter if you're in the corporate world right now, whether you're a leader of a team or not, if you're an entrepreneur. I mean, what Ali's sharing is seriously, this just goes to the human beings that we are. It's all about tapping in. And there's a word that I've come to realize that I think you really help people. And that's, you're really courageous. You said, I only kind of do things that I know, but actually you come from such a place of just, you're brave and you're courageous. You're like, what the hell? What do I have to lose? I'm just going to go try this. And that's where I think a lot of people hold ourselves back. We put all that chatter in our head, right? All the reasons why we shouldn't go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's look at what I said. When I'm teaching stuff that I know and what's proven. When I'm trying new things, though, there's so many things that otherwise I'd be back in that. If I waited to be completely prepared for anything I have ever taken on, I would still be back in that cubicle in New York right now.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hands down. I have never been completely prepared for anything I have done. And I interview all these amazing women, including you. You've been on the show, and my podcast is called Glambition Radio. And the very fascinating thing I have found with all these women, from you, Holly, to women running these billion dollar companies, I have never heard any of them say, before that big leap, I waited until I had all the wisdom, knowledge, time, and money I needed, and then I took the leap. There's always an X factor. There's something that's missing or they're not sure, but you have the feeling. You have the feeling that everything's going to be okay. And you're right.
Yep. And you don't let all that other stuff prevent you from, and you talk about these stories, and you've heard it interviewing all these amazing women and all these incredible people I'm getting to interview like you. There's been it's like a roller coaster. There's pivotal moments that, you might have had a moment of fear, but you said, what do I have to lose? And just step into it and go. And that's what I think you give people permission, Ali. And it comes so natural to you that you don't even realize the gift that you give to people, but you live from a place of, what do we have to lose? I'm making decisions. I'm not waiting for the world to decide what my next step is. You follow your gut, you follow your spirit, and then you give people permission to say, it's okay to say, I don't want to take that business anymore. It's okay to say, I don't want that client. I'm going to go after these clients. And I think I'd love for everybody to hear, it's really cool what you're doing in your life right now. And by the way, she has an amazing honey, Brett, and a beautiful 2 children who are priceless and precious. But you're making decisions that have really taken a turn that you've been intentional about.
Yeah.
And I love for you to share, because it gives people permission to know, you can do whatever the hell you want. You make that choice.
I think over the years, I always was previously into goals, and I was a big goal setter, and I'd go to these, the workshops and set goals and stuff. And then I would keep reaching them. And the problem with goals is then you want the next goal, and you kind of start following this linear path. And it made sense. I mean, I built what I wanted. I built this company that got close to $10 million. We were Inc. 500. I had a team of about 20 people. I had my own magazine. I was on the show Secret Millionaire. I mean, everything was lined up. I was wearing Gucci. I chartered a jet one time. I mean, I did everything on the list that, the list that we all have. And it's exciting when you start making money and reaching your goals. You're like, wow, this is amazing. You want to do all these things you couldn't do before and have what you couldn't have. And, I got to this point that I saw the next level and I started to go there because I was so goal oriented. And well, a few things happened. One was the show Secret Millionaire, which if you haven't seen, you can still watch on Hulu, or I think maybe even Amazon. It's like $4. You will see me transform on that show. And I prayed for that opportunity because I was happy, but not fulfilled. I was having a good time, but inside I knew there was something bigger. And I wasn't apologetic for what I've created or who I was, but I knew there was a greater calling for me and I was ready for it. And that show, if you haven't seen the show, is where someone is taken out of their usual life. They're put into some hard emotional situations over a week, stripped of their identity, and they give away $100,000 to people in their community. And it changed my life. And you will see on that show me transform. From that moment on, I came home. And that was the first phase of me coming back and saying, what does not fit me anymore? Enough about what I'm supposed to be doing. No more linear decisions here. Nothing, this is not going to be a rational decision. This is about what do I really want? And I started stripping away parts of the business that I didn't enjoy. I got ruthless about looking at the company and saying, what do I enjoy that makes a lot of profit and what makes no profit? And I feel like I'm doing just because I should. And those were big decisions to make, especially when there were a team involved, a business partner who started to get a little, a lot of people like things the way they are. And when you come back in the door and say, I want to make changes, it's not everyone's favorite thing, whether it's your partner or, people you work with. And then that was the first thing that helped me. And then the second thing was meeting Brett. And I'll be very honest that, for many years, I wasn't sure if I wanted a family. I was like, it could go either way. I like kids, but I'm also happy traveling first class all the time. And
I know. Wait, just drop that one in. Oh yeah. We don't do,
I started to think like, wow, you can't, I was like, could you have both of that or one or the other? I just didn't know, I've come used to this really lifestyle. And I kept thinking like, will that change? Will that change who I am? Will I lose my power if I become a mom? There were all these things that I uncovered later in my subconscious about this. And then I met Brett and, something really turned on, both physically. Honestly, my ovaries kind of launched into like action mode last call because I had natural twins and I was pregnant within 2 months of us meeting, which was unbelievable. And the best thing that could ever happen because he was the man I was supposed to be with. It's the most amazing story. And when I had these kids, I kept thinking, well, I'll just go back. I'll pop these kids out and then go right back to the way I was working. See really what I was thinking. I'm like, I'll have night nannies and all this help. And, very blessed that I was thinking we can get the best help we can afford and I'll need help because I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm sure I could just go back and keep all this going. And I found I didn't want to. I found that, also the business had become complex and especially because I took a few months off and it just got even more complicated and things went wrong. Things weren't done the way I wanted them to do. And I came back and just kept looking at all this. And I'm like, this isn't what I want anymore. And if I want to keep growing it, that's fine, but it's not what I wanted. And so I came back and then made more changes in the business again and decided that now my business now is only working with women who are 7 figures plus running their own businesses. I solely work with women entrepreneurs. I run a very small high-end coaching group, do workshops, do some speaking and some consulting. And I will share with you all that like I'm netting now more than I did 3 years ago because I got so smart and came back and said, now this is about what I want now. And it's about giving myself permission to change what it looks like. Because a lot of women I see, especially, we feel so blessed to get to a certain place. We've worked so hard, whether it's a position at a company or, I built my goal. I built this company and I had what I wanted to do. And it's like, if you're looking in the room you're in right now, imagine you're walking to one corner and then that's your goal. And you get there and you're like, and then you turn around and then what do you have now? You have a different perspective. And now you see some other things you didn't see before because you were facing the other direction. And so you walk over here and then you're like, oh, this is good too. And then turn around, oh, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And we're still living in this like industrial age mindset that you have this one career path and you have this goal and you get there. And a lot of women, especially I see, are trapped in these careers or lives that were great when they were building them. But now everything's evolving so quickly. You have so many choices right now. You have so many opportunities to walk out the door, go start your own business, make changes at the company you're at. I think people just don't see these things. And I know you see this all the time, Holly, with the women you work with as well.
Well, and I think you just nailed a couple of things that, man, it is. It's back to permission. We don't give ourselves permission. Who are you waiting for to give you permission, right? Like your story, Allie, is so powerful because yes, it maybe took some life changes. I think we all go through changes in life. It's a season of life. You became a mother and, have a husband and all these wonderful things, but it does help you realign your priorities. And one of the things that we do for each other quite frequently, and we hold each other accountable, Allie and I think this is important for everyone. Find yourself, there's that old saying, the 5 people you spend your most valuable time with are an indication of who you will become.
Absolutely. I remember when I first heard that, I was in that job at the ad agency in New York. It was in a book by Jim Rohn, who some of you may not know. That was Tony Robbins' original mentor. He took a lot of Jim Rohn stuff and then he had big conferences with good music and flew through the air. And Tony transformed the industry to be younger and more fun and hip. But Jim Rohn was the guy who came up with most of this stuff. And when I first heard that, I remember thinking, I'm in the wrong place because I was meeting some, nice kids at work, and I call them kids because I felt like even they were kids when I was 25. But I'm like, is this what you do? You go out to the bar after work and talk about what's on TV? I'm like, do any of you travel? Do you want to? Are you aware of what's going on in the world? And I just remember feeling so different and lonely. And one of the best things is when you start reaching out for something more, you're going to magically start meeting people. Yes. Like Holly, like me, like these amazing women who it's like these almost secret societies, except we're out there. You just haven't taken it in that there are women like us out there. And one thing I forgot to add with the whole life changes, which I think you wanted me to mention, is that, we also, I wanted this huge house here. It has 7 bathrooms. We don't need 7 bathrooms. We don't need all this stuff. We actually got rid of our childcare. Brett quit his job and we are like simplifying everything. We're so happy. We're going to be traveling a lot around the world this year. And, it's all what you want at the time. And I think just give yourself permission. That's my biggest message.
It is. And it's a huge message. And I think you're living it. And that's why I think this is really important. And I hope people that are listening will really take from this. It doesn't mean you have to go pack up all your crap, sell your house, and then travel the world, right? Now, we have done that. Allie and I and some of us out there have been through having it all, losing it all, our stories, but we're willing to share them. But what's important to take away is that you got to give yourself permission. There could be something that's just nudging at your shoulder. And does it mean you have to leave your job right now to go start your passion? No. But if you don't start doing it in baby steps, you'll always wonder if, and you'll wonder when. And there is no perfect time. And it's like, what you went through this last year, Allie, which I have such high respect for. And that is, I think sometimes we get in a position when she just said she shut down a whole part of her company. And that was a big choice, a big decision. It was high revenue generating. And it's like, but is this bringing you joy? Is this aligned with our values? And one of the things that we do for each other, sometimes we'll call each other and go, I'm trying to make a decision. Is it aligned with your values? Does it bring you joy? And I think you and I both know that when you make that choice and you pause long enough to ask yourself that, and that's why I call you sometimes and text you, because I'm like, I need to know. Like you can get so caught up in what's happening. And you're making choices, Allie. You're making choices and you're living your life to serve you, Brett, and the kids and the world in a way that you can do your very best work. So I would just love for anybody out there who would like to get in contact with Allie. And again, she's very selective in the people she'll work with, but I got to give you credit, Allie. You're always willing to be there. You're authentic. You're organic. Look at, she just tells it all. She puts it all on the table. This is who I am. This is how it is. But Allie, how would you like people to reach out to you? What's the best way for them to learn more about you?
If you go to alliebrown.com, you could read all about my story, a lot more there too. I think you'll really enjoy, and you'll see testimonials and case studies from the clients I've worked with, the kind of women I work with. And I also have a free audio that's still up there, and I get a lot of great response on it, and you can sign up for that at alliebrown.com. It's top 10 success secrets for entrepreneurial women. Even if you're at a job, I think you'll really enjoy that. And I'm also active on Facebook at Allie Brown Fan is my page on Facebook.
Oh, and I love that. And by the way, that DVD, your 10 secrets. That's powerful. I've listened to it. I think you gave it to me. Yeah.
I think you got it at the wine thing.
Yeah, when we were each at our tables handing out stuff. We're like, here's your stuff. Well, girlfriend, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your spirit and your brilliance and your wisdom, and love having you in my life. Thank you for all that you are.
Love you, hon.
Bye, darling.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining me for another awesome celebration of you. If you were inspired by this story, please share it with your family and friends and hashtag Your Story Matters. I'd love to hear from you, so please leave a comment on iTunes. And absolutely, please come to my website, hollydowling.com. Leave a comment there too, and while you're there, pick up your free gift. Most importantly, though, just remember that your life is a gift from God. What you do with it is your gift back.